Welcome to day 16 of the 30-day yoga challenge. Let's begin by getting comfortable in a seated position. We'll close the eyes and just arriving into your body. Bring awareness to your seat, to your connection to the earth, and just organizing your spine according to what you feel is center line. Start to deepen your breath. And just exploring sensation in your inhale and exhale. You could visualize the inhale moving down the spine. Follow the exhale up the spine. Bringing the hands together in front of the heart center and just connecting to what your body is needing. What you as a being are needing. Connect with your ability to receive. And also to release anything that's no longer needed. Any weight that you wish to take off of your own shoulders. And we'll open with a single Om, either internally or externally. Then we'll begin to open the eyes. Today we'll start in a kneeling position. And so if you need patting underneath your feet, do that. If you can, sit back to the heels. And we'll place the hands onto the thighs. So just going to be moving the spine, arching and rounding with the breath. Inhale, elbows pulling back together, arching the pelvis, and lifting the heart and chin. Exhale, look to the belly button, round your spine. Inhale. Trying to create fullness in the breath and the movement. express open spaces in the spine. And come back to center. Good, and we'll bring the knees apart and walking your hands forward. If you need something for your head, we want to rest the head, and we'll lift the palms of the hands. Actually, it's not true. You don't need to rest your head. You could keep your head above the arms. And walk over to your right side. So your head could rest. It's a lot more grounding for your spine. But in a pose where we're more active, then it's okay because you're supporting the head. When you're being more passive, you need more support. Walk to center, inhale, and exhale to the left side. And then come back to center. And we'll come forward if your ankles are getting a little bit falling asleep on you. We can bring the tips of the toes onto the floor. And sit back towards the heels. And just waking up the feet, possibly reaching the hands back to adjust the heels to be directly up and down. You could have palms on the thighs, or you could have hands on the heels. And we'll exhale, come forward onto the hands and the knees. Shake out the feet. Tops of the feet on the floor. Let's move the knees apart. And get this out of the way. We'll take our hands onto the ground. Let's walk forward a bit. Turn the palms so that the palms are facing forward. The middle finger is pointed back. Try to create parallel hands and wrists. And then slowly sit back. It doesn't take very much. You're not overpowering, but you are very present in every finger. Noticing if you could breathe and release your shoulders and your neck. We'll come forward, turn the hands around, and you can sit back to the heels, and we'll just make figure eights with the wrists. And if you can figure out how to do it in the opposite way, then we'll try to do it in the opposite way. And just shaking out the wrists. Good. Let's come into a forward fold. And so just hanging out with arms crossed. So if you're quite tight in the hamstrings and this is quite challenging for you, then bending your knees a little bit more so you can have some more support and just staying here. Letting the shoulders and the ears relax towards the ground. And then rolling up the spine with a deep bend in the knees, head coming up very last, and we'll roll the shoulders back. Good. And let's bring the arms up and rise up, bring the heels up and rise up into the mounds of the feet, and keep reaching through the wrists and ankles. Okay, but let your weight settle into the feet. So you're lifting your heels, but as you become more steady, your body is relaxing into the steadiness. And sometimes you don't feel any of the steadiness, and the heels can come back down, and we'll relax the arms. Good. So let's step our feet apart into a wide stance, goddess. So let's do this. The knees are as open as the feet, so if the thighs won't open that far, then place your feet differently. And so we want to continue opening the thighs outwards. Okay, and the foot has to reorganize itself because we're moving into new territory. So lift your toes. Just become very present in the inside and outside of your feet. Keep pulling the thighs open and see if you can slowly sit back a bit. And see if you can lean back a little bit. And let's see if you can bring the palms up. And really, very carefully bringing the weight back and centering in the heel. Centering the weight over the center of the heel. And then stand back up, very good, and exhale. And let's turn the heels out now. So we're looking at parallel feet. And we'll take the hands to the hips and elbows pointing back. Inhale, lengthen the torso, and exhale, fold halfway. So option to keep your hands on the hips, or you could bring your hands to the floor. And if your hands are on the floor, then we're going to turn the hands around and we're going to walk them through. So whether you have your hands on your hips or the hands are on the floor, straighten your legs and lean forward slightly. Take the hands back to the hips if they're not already, and stand straight up and step to the front of your mat. Good, and we'll just move through a vinyasa. Inhale, reaching up. And exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. And exhale, downward dog. Let's take the right foot forward. Stand up into warrior D. High lunge. And we'll take the palms together. And exhale, hands to the ground. Step back, high plank, inhale. And exhale, chaturanga. Upward facing dog or cobra. And exhale, down dog. Left foot stepping forward. Stand all the way up. And we'll bring the arms up, palms facing each other. Exhale, hands to the ground. Inhale, high plank. And exhale, lower. Inhale. And exhale. Hang out in downward dog. If you find yourself needing an adjustment in downward dog, doesn't quite feel right, look forward, rotate your biceps outwards, and push the chest towards the toes, and tuck the chin slightly towards the front of the throat. Look forward, step through, inhale, half lift, and exhale, fold. Stand up, inhale, and exhale, release. So we'll take the feet wide apart, and we'll come up, we'll lift the heels up off the ground. And we're going to slowly sit, but the heels are going to stay lifting. And I've angled my knees open a bit, but my heels are close enough that I would sit on my heels. So they're close, my feet are close enough together that I would sit on my heels. So I'm lifting my heels and my fingertips are on the ground. But I want to position my foot so I'm not collapsing in my ankle, and so that I'm opening my knee to be above my ankle. Now, we're gonna bring the feet together a little bit more, okay? And we'll bring the knees apart a little bit more. So just breathe in here. And we're gonna prepare for the crow, but we're already really doing what the pose could do for us essentially right now. So if we go further, bonus. But if we don't go further, not a big deal. We're doing it right now. So we're breathing here, you're sitting, you're lifting the heels. And we could take this a little further. I'm going to take my elbows in front of my shin and plant my hand. Okay, so that if I were to fall forward or lean forward, I couldn't. Because my elbow is stopping my shin. Then I'm going to use that weight forward. I can't really fall forward. And I'm going to boost my hips up with my heels. I'm going to boost my hips up. I'm pouring that weight into my elbows and keeping my feet together, which keeps my elbows together. So I squeeze my feet together and I'm using every finger. And I'm on a tipping point. Like I'm right on a tipping point. So the key to coming into this is the feet are together and the knees are apart. And this is in the beginning. And you're looking forward with that chest. So get your elbows in a position, get your knees high, get your elbows in front of the shin. And look at the hands, they're parallel. When you boost the hips up and you lean into those elbows, look forward. And lean until your fingers have to work. Until your fingers are working for you. And it's not for everybody. Might involve more flexibility in the wrists. So try it out maybe with a pillow in front of your face. And just have fun with it. It's about the elbow stacking above the wrist. And you can try this out a few times. Maybe you can watch the video a few times. And once you're done, we'll come into child's pose. So just relaxing and sitting back to the hips. Sitting back to the heels. And we'll come forward onto the hands and the knees. Great. We're going to come down onto the belly and reach the arms out in front of us. And we'll do this in rhythm with our breath. So stretching the hands forward in front of you, stretching the feet back behind you, and inhale, raise your right arm and your left leg. Lift your chest, inhale. And exhale, slowly come down. Opposite sides, inhale. And really reach through all four limbs. Inhaling to rise to a peak, and exhaling to relax back down. Exhale, just relax your head to one side and the arms beside you. And now bring your hands in the position that you have them in as you lower into Chaturanga. So hands under the elbows. And roll the shoulders back so you have more press down into the hands. And we'll lift just the chest up. bring the legs together and see if you can bring both legs up by stretching out through the toes. And stay here for 3 more breaths, or push up all the way. But you have to travel up through the head and keep lengthening through those legs and toes. Bend the knees, child's pose, downward dog, or dolphin, whichever you choose. Child's pose, downward dog, or dolphin. Remember, in dolphin, you're trying, well, in downward dog too, soften into the shoulders, but through the push into the ground, send your chest further towards your toes. And we'll come back down, sit back to the heels and bring the legs out in front of us. Actually, sorry, stay on the knees. Stay on the knees, come on to the toes. Some padding for your knees maybe. And taking the hands to the hips, trying to rotate the upper arms back. And we'll press the hips forward and lift the heart. So the head is not falling back, the head is feeling lots of length through all sides of the neck. And think about squeezing the front of your thighs together to take the hips forward more. Come back to sitting on the heels and just take a moment here. And come back up. So tops of the feet on the floor, pushing the hips forward, not just pushing them forward, but establishing a tilt in your pelvis. Push the hips forward, lift the heart up, roll the shoulders back for support, and then lean back until it requires your feet to hold you in position. And from that foot action, bring your pelvis forward and up. Come back up and sit back to the heels. Rounding the spine. Great, let's sit down and we'll lay onto the backs. So if you're quite tight in the front of the thighs, and you find that bringing your pelvis up, it doesn't come up very far, you want to start finding a stack of books or something that could bring you just that extra little bit so that you can relax there. So we don't need something underneath the pelvis, but it certainly can help if you can work with it on your own. And we'll roll the shoulders back You can dig the elbows into the ground or press the hands into the ground, and we'll lift the hips up. Try to press into the feet and take the pose a little further towards the shoulders. If the hands can clasp together, maybe finding a little bit deeper of an adjustment in the shoulders. And maybe you can get the hands underneath the hips, but the shoulders should still be on the ground. And exhale, come back down. So work with the step that you're on, because you can't hurry your body into the next variation, because it's not useful if that variation isn't serving you. So we have to get the legs working for us so that we're supporting the spine. We can lift the hips up. If you can get the hips up high enough that there's some growth there and you feel like the shoulders could really draw back, then it makes sense to put the hands beside the head, but continue that same direction. So hands are down, clasping, or doing that work down there. And when you get to the position where your hands can be placed on the ground, you use the legs to help you onto the head, but the hands must press right down through the center. And the push is there, but only if you can support yourself on the head. And exhale, release back down. Good. Soften. You might not have gone that far. It's not important. But if your body allows you and you have some openness, you should challenge yourself. Just don't judge where your level of challenge is. So we're going to take a happy baby pose as a position. It begins by grabbing the feet. And we want to grab the outside edge of the foot, the pinky toe side, and bring the heels to a position where they're right above the knees. And it's as if my feet are flat on the ceiling. And I'm going to pull my shoulders back. And I'm going to try and take my hips back to the ground. And okay, so we'll go to a different position. You can stay here, or you can start to take the feet up towards the shoulders. So we're kind of rolling up the back a little bit, kind of rolling up the back, and then I'm going to bring the legs together. Okay, and maybe I don't get them straight, but I'll roll up the back until I can straighten my legs. Or I'm trying to get to straight. I'm pulling the shoulders back. Okay, so you're kicking through the heels, pulling the shoulders back, breathing here. And then where we can really make up the space is in slowly bringing your body down one vertebra at a time down into the low back, trying to bring your hips slowly back towards the ground while keeping lots of length through the legs, while pulling the shoulders back away from the ears. And some of you might be shaking right now. Don't worry about getting straight or getting your pelvis right to the ground. Once you find the intensity, that's where your breathing is starting to calm and soothe the areas that are needing, while integrating action. And then from here, we'll bend the knees, feet onto the ground, and we'll relax into Shavasana. So relaxing onto your back. Getting as comfortable as you can. Relax the weight of your bones. The most dense part of your structure, relaxing. And noticing the connection in the joints, the muscles surrounding the bones, and allow the tissue of the body to relax. Noticing any area that could relax a bit more. And the muscles and bones are protecting our vital organs, which have the capacity to heal our body, to bring us to a place of optimal health. And so just notice warmth and spaciousness in the areas of your organs. And even including the brain and the space between your brain and the skull, relaxing. fluidity with which all of the cells transport and share and cooperate. And so just noticing effortless fluidity. Notice the skin, very thin separation from outer space and inner space. And just allow the warmth from the center of your being to expand beyond the skin. And start to deepen the breath again. Finding some movement in the fingers and toes. Coming back to a seated position. And noticing how effortlessly the body can arrange itself to sit towards center. We'll bring the hands together and connecting to gratitude. Namaste.